It's time for our performance of the week with Healthspan Elite. They're the first nutrition supplier to the All Blacks. They've been with them for 5 years, and they provide supplements and dietary stuff to keep them on top of their health and their performance. Now, you can trust them because they batch test everything. They give you peace of mind to know that you are safe. Now, guys, performance of the week. Tell me, both of you, it's Caleb Clarke.
Not for me.
For me,
Not for me.
For me, I'm going to take his. Obviously, he's a big advocate for the Blues boys, but mate, I thought Caleb Clarke was tremendous. Every time he touched the ball, he just looked threatening, and he was threatening. Over 100 meters, defenders beating him right, left, and centre, and every time he got a touch, I can't imagine the last time someone that's got a standing ovation, after a game like that. That young. So I think the New Zealand public had a pretty good understanding how special that performance was, and the biggest thing I liked about Caleb around that, he was was humble as well. Straight after his match, he had the press conference, and he's just so level-headed and so mature for such a young kid. You've had a great test match, you've played well. You're going to get all the applause in the world, but it's very down to earth, and no doubt that comes from his background as well with Ronnie as well.
I think the biggest thing about that is his identity isn't a rugby player. His identity's more than that, and what he can give to his community and his beliefs is probably more of a priority for him than Caleb Clarke, the rugby player. And I think that's why he comes across and is so well liked by the public. To get a standing O in your first start, it was a great performance, but it was a hell of a being there and seeing it. It was exceptional. It was, hair raising on the back of your neck sort of stuff. I didn't expect it. I was like, oh, yeah, he played well. But, that's how, infectious his personality is, I suppose. Look, I thought he was great. Don't get me wrong. He was, definitely one of the best players on the park. The reason why I didn't choose him is maybe the way I see Test match footy being won.
Spy Hookers.
Colesy is my man. Colesy is my man this week, just because he's built for Test match footy. You mentioned it, Bryn. He set the tone. Although he got piss bowled by Taniela Tupou, he stood up, he grabbed him, and he set the tone and set a bit of a brawl. Aaron Smith scored. He ran, I would say, 20 metres to rub Sulakai Lotu on the head. And it's just those little niggly moments. I know it sounds silly, but he just set the tone. He, his game around the field, the lineouts, the scrums, and his experience, his edge. He's everything Test match footy's about. And his steel and his leadership in that pack in that first 40 brought about the success of the All Blacks. And that's why, and not being biased to Hookers, I just think he was a big factor in why there was a big turnaround in mindset, attitude, and that physical dominance.
I suppose without Brodie as well, who provides a very similar approach, the All Blacks are used to having two of those guys, aren't they? And then, last week they were starting with neither of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can't look past the skip. He brings it every week as well, and Sam Cane, but they're used to probably having three or four. Like they're bruising sort of style players. But Colesy, as I said, built for Test match footy, big factor in it. As I said, I interviewed him after the game, and I mentioned that 3-2 sort of set up attacking wise, and he just goes, mate, we're just going to keep evolving. He's just he's the sort of player that after the game he'll shake your hand, have a beer with you, and none the wiser, but he's also the same player that if you're on the ground and you expect to be picked up, he'll push you back down.